Fellow Southern Cameroonians, good evening. In response to the various calls and messages that I've been receiving to find out what is going on, why is there so much quiet and almost invisibility on my part and that of Scope with regards to the current situation that our revolution is facing, I have decided to do this very short video just to say we are not quiet. We are not invisible. On the contrary, we have been extremely visible. We are out there doing the work instead of the talking. Over the past few weeks, we have seen a lot of drama. Not that drama has been absent from our revolution. Generally, there's always been some kind of drama or the other. And it is because we are dealing with a regime that understands that it is always important to distract us from our main goal. And that's why this evening I want to talk to you about where we are and what we are doing and our reading of the situation. That even when we don't speak, when I don't talk, we read the situation and see it for what it is, and then we try to do something about it in our own way. I want to talk to you about the three-pronged strategy that the République du Cameroun is using against us at the moment. The one has been to ensure that it gets into our ranks and destroys it. So, break into our ranks and sow seeds of discord to the point where we have taken away our attention from the enemy and we are focusing that attention on each other. That's number one. The second one is to give the impression that there is goodwill on the part of Yaoundé to talk, to negotiate, to dialogue. Give the impression, not dialogue. And the third is that in the course of doing all of this, buy time and as much as possible and as quickly as possible, smash whatever resistance we have on the ground. Now, the first one, which is to sow the seed of discord within our community, within our ranks. You have all seen for yourself what has been happening over the past weeks. Push our leaders, push our compatriots, push our friends to the point that they start to take certain decisions. That is exactly what Yaoundé wants. As you know, at the moment, there's been this big talk about the IG and the fact that we are having two IGs. It is no coincidence that that is happening at a time when our leaders in detention have been on the receiving end of a whole big malicious campaign. It is no coincidence when you think to the fact that a week after the decision to put in place or to restore the old IG, then the new IG unleashes this war and all of a sudden we have two IGs. That's exactly what Yaoundé wanted, and that's what I have been warning against. The moment you play the card, it's like you have chess pieces on your board. You have this one chess piece that they're looking at and they're pushing you. They're pushing you and wanting you to take that step. And then eventually, as soon as you take the step, then they know exactly what chess piece to move. Move a piece and say we are ready now to dialogue. But what dialogue? Dialogue amongst a people who are divided, who are fighting against each other, who are spending a lot of the time throwing a malicious campaign against their own leadership and against their own compatriots, like has been the case over the past year or two. And as you do that, the regime then thrives on your division and thrives on the policy of divide and rule. And what is going to happen is quickly call you to some kind of a dialogue that says you all sit around the table, 7, 9, 15 of you. And in the process, we will be telling you what to do. But we know that because you fight amongst each other, the moment X says we go west, Y is going to say we go east. And the person who benefits is the regime. That's the first thing. So it is no coincidence that all of a sudden a regime that has not wanted to have any kind of conversation suddenly offers to say, yes, we are willing to talk and we are willing to forgive and forget. It's no coincidence. That's number one. And while that is going on, in terms of this whole thing about dialogue and wanting to talk to each other, it's a process, it's a means of dragging the conversation and ensuring that we continue to keep you fighting at each other, and we can go back to the international community and say, you see, we told you, this is not the people you can do business with. They cannot even govern themselves, let alone have governance in tandem with other partners, and give the impression to the international community that we do not know what we are doing. And in all of this, we have those little groupings and individuals who have been bought and have been recruited to play exactly that kind of role. Otherwise, how do you define and describe the role of a group of people who have decided that the only thing they are going to do as their job within the struggle is sabotage and backstabbing? It comes as no coincidence. And then the third part of the game plan, of course, is to ensure, to give the impression to the international community that, you see, we are weak, we are ready to talk, we are ready to find solutions. And while the international community and even ourselves are fooled by this facade of being weak and in a position of wanting to talk, then they unleash their military and ensure that they take out the last segments of our boys on the ground. And once you've done that, then what reason would you have to want to dialogue with anybody? Once you've cleaned up all the resistance on the ground, then all you need to do is just ignore whoever, and you just let the dogs keep fighting like they've been fighting, and you can turn around and tell the international community that we always told you these people are not capable of self-governance. This is very troubling because in lots of ways we have walked ourselves into this trap that has been set by the regime. And that's why as SCOPE, we have taken a principled decision not to jump into the melee and start being part of the fight, but rather to see how do we find solutions and continue to focus on the bigger picture, which is the struggle, and continue to support our leaders, our compatriots and our friends who are in jail, because at the end of the day, they are there because of us. My appeal, therefore, to every single Southern Cameroonian of good faith is that no matter what is happening, no matter all the noise that is going on social media, no matter all the attempts at distraction, stay focused. We have a big, big fight in front of us. The master of the République du Cameroun is not even willing to consider a federal system, let alone us walking away. But if they are given the option of giving us a federal system or walking away, they would more than be willing to see us walk away, because the idea of creating a federal system is exactly what is going to break the back of the France-Afrique. Rather leave a small tiny group of people go than to put in place a federal system. And it is for that reason that we need to continue to focus and understand the bigger game plan, because so far we have been doing nothing but fighting over the crumbs while the big masters are talking the big game. That's why as a movement we are focusing more on what kind of conversation is taking place on the high table rather than fighting for the crumbs, without necessarily forgetting that at the end of the day, those that are being slaughtered, those whose reputation are being destroyed today, not too long ago, were our heroes. So where did they go wrong, and what did they do that would warrant them to be destroyed like this? But then again, if you follow the trend over the past 2 years, it comes as no surprise. And it comes as no surprise it's the same group of individuals who continue to do this. So we can either choose to be gullible and in the end be misled, or we can choose to ask very pertinent questions that will help us to convince not only ourselves, but convince those who have begun to take us seriously that we know what we are doing, and that at the end of the day, we are indeed a people who are capable of self-governance. Food for thought for all of us, and a good evening, and long live Southern Cameroons, and short live the revolution. Thank you.